Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about control statements in C program. So these control statements will control the flow of your program. That is in what sequence you wanted to move in your program, either to forward or backward. Right. So in this, there are different types of control statements. So the first two types, branching and looping iterative. Right. Again, branching is divided into two types. That is conditional and unconditional. Coming to loop or iterative, you will have repetition of statements. Okay. So a control statement modifies the order of statement execution. So as I said, the control is nothing but how you are moving in statement by statement in your program. A control statement can cause other program statements to execute multiple times or not to execute at all, depending upon the circumstances. So when you're trying to execute some set of statements repeatedly, some 10 times or 20 times, then you will be moving for your looping or iterative statements, right? So we'll see one by one. First, what is conditional or unconditional, and then your looping or iterative statements, right? So types of control statements, as I said, branching statements. So use it to select one of the alternative statement. So branching means you are trying to divide. Okay, so there you are trying to divide depending upon condition or unconditional statements. If you are dividing upon condition, then you will move to the B part, that is nothing but your conditional branching. If a statement, if else statement, switch statement. And for if without any conditions, if you just wanted to do or select some particular statements, then you will use the unconditional branching, that is your go to and also your break and right, go to and break statements you will be used in your unconditional branching. And coming to these looping or iterative statements, use it to repeat the statement till the condition is true. So if the condition is true, those many number of times your set of statements will be repeatedly executed, or else you will just come out of that particular statement, I mean particular loop, and you will execute the other statements. Okay. So in this, you are having three types: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. So first, unconditional branching, as I said, you can have break, continue, go to, and return. Right. So all these are unconditional because you are nowhere you will be providing some conditions for these statements to move either to forward or either to backward in your program. So first we'll see the break. It is a keyword which is used to terminate the loop or exit from the block. The control jumps to the next statement after the loop or block. And break is used with for loop, while loop, do while loop, and switch statement. When break is used in nested loops, then only the innermost loop is terminated, right? So these are the four conditions where you will be using the break. So generally what your break loop will do, break statement will do, it will just simply exit either from your loop or some particular set of statements. Okay. So the syntax for writing loops is loop, you have to open flower brackets and then some statements, and then you will give the return or break, whatever the things. This was a sample, and then you will have some statements. Okay. And then finally you are closing with the flower bracket. So always you remember that loop will open with the flower bracket and close with the closing flower brace. Right. So this was an example for your break statement. So, and this was a flow diagram. So you'll give some looping condition over there. If the condition is true, then you will repeat that particular part, that is this part. And if you are providing a break statement, it will just come and break and completely quit from your loop. So this was what, and if the condition is false also, you will just come out of that particular looping statement. So consider this example here. In this example, I wanted to print values from 1 to 5. Okay. But what happens if I use this break? Okay. So we'll see that statement by statement. Hash include stdio.h and then your main, and then you're opening your flower bracket. And I was declaring a variable in of data type I. And in the next statement, for loop I had used. So in for loop, you need to first initialize the value, and then you need to provide the condition, and then you need to provide increment or decrement, decrementing of that particular variable. And then you will open your flower bracket. right? In this, what I was doing is first simply I was printing I value. Next, what is I value? What did I had initialized here? I is equals to 1 I had initialized. So what is this? After printing I value, what is the next statement I had? If I is equals to 3. If I is equals to 3, simply I just wanted to break that loop completely. Okay. But what is my I value? My I value is 1. So 1 equals to 3. No, condition is false. So you'll come back and you'll increment the I value. So previously I value is 1. Now my I value will be 2. So 2 less than or equals to 5. Condition is true. So then again I'm trying to print that value. So 2 will be printed. And if I is equals to 3, you'll check the condition. Yes, 2 is equals to 3. No, condition is false. So you're not executing this break statement. Again, you'll come here. Okay. And then now my I value will be incremented to 3. Then what I was doing? I was just printing the I value. So 3 will be printed. And then you will check the condition. If I is equals to 3, yes, 3 is equals to 3. So then what I'm doing? I'm just simply executing this statement, that is break. So once you will execute this statement, you will completely quit from this for loop. So after quitting from this for loop, there are no statements. So simply you will be quitting from your main. So that is the reason instead of printing 1 to 5 values, I will be getting 1 to 3. So what you are trying to do, you are completely quitting from some particular block. At that time, you will use the keyword break. Okay. And then next comes your continue, which is again an unconditional, right? So the syntax for continue statement is as follows. So loop, you'll give some statements, and in middle you will give the continue, and then some statements, and then your closing braces, right? So here also what will happen is, in break, what did we do? Whenever that particular break statement is executed, you will completely quit from the particular loop, right? Here, what you will do is you will provide some condition in that loop. If suppose I wanted to print 1 to 10 values and I wanted to give some condition, if I is equals to 5, I don't want it to print, right? So that time what I'll do, I'll just simply give if I is equals to 5, continue. And then I'll write list of the code. So at that time, what will happen? When I was trying to print 1, 2, 3, 4, whenever my I value will become 5, it will not print anything. And my I value will be incremented to 6. Again, it will be printed 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that particular value, it will skip the repetition of that particular loop. So the only difference is one single time your loop will not be executed in the continue. Whereas if the break statement is given, the whole loop will be exited. Right? So this is what the example program, same program we had seen with the break. We got the value 1, 2, 3, and after 3 I had given break, so no other values will be printed. So same condition I was keeping with if I is equals to 3 and then continue. So check out the output once. You got 1, 2, 4, 5. Right? So whenever my I value will become 3, it will not print that value. Then what will happen? You will increment the I value and you will print the rest of the value. So once we'll see this tracing of this program once, right? Hash include stdio.h starting with your main, again declaration of the variable, starting with your for loop, initialization, giving a condition, same I wanted to print 5 value. So 1 less than equal to 5, yes, condition is true. Then you will check if 1 is equals to 3, no. So obviously you will not execute this continue statement. What is the next statement we have? Printf. Printf, what I was doing, print I value. What is my I value? 1. So 1 is being printed. Next, again you will come back and you will increment the I value. So now my I value will become 2. 2 less than or equals to 5. Yes, condition is true. Is 2 is equals to 3? No. So you are not going to execute this continue statement. Instead, you will print the value. So now 2 is being printed. Good. Right. Next, again, what will happen? I value will become 3. 3 is equals to 3. Yes, condition is true. Then what is being executed? This particular continue statement will be executed. That is, for this time, you will be skipping out the next statements of this particular loop. So what is the next statement of this particular loop? Printing of I. So I'm not going to print that value for the particular cycle or for the particular repetition. Instead, what we will do, we'll come and we'll increment the I value, so that I value will become 4. 4 less than or equals to 5. Condition is true. Again, it will come and check if 4 is equals to 3. No. So you're not going to execute the continue. So simply you'll give printf percentile di, so that 4 will be printed. And then again you'll come and increment the I value. It will become 5. 5 less than or equals to 5. Yes, condition is true. Is 5 equals to 3? No. So not executing continue statement. Instead you are printing the I value 5. Right? So this is what will happen in your continue and break statement, which is very, very important both for your theoretical and practical examinations. Okay. The difference is also, you should know how the execution part is also being done in your break, and continue has to be known for every one of you. Next comes our return. So return is nothing but how the program is being moved from one method to another method, right? One method to another method. How the control of that particular program is moving from different functions, from one function to another function. So this was a simple pictorial representation of return. Yeah, we'll go on with this example program so that you can understand easily, right? So first, this was an addition program, what we are trying to see here. Hash include stdio.h void main. And then I had given, I had declared a variable c, and c is equals to add. So this was my function which is performing addition of two numbers. Okay. So whenever my cursor comes to this particular statement, c is equals to add, my cursor will move from here to this part. Why it is moving? Because you are calling this function add, right? So you are coming here, right? And then, so after entering into this function, what I was doing, I was just declaring two variables, a and b. And then you are asking user to enter some values for a and b. Those are being carried into your, stored into the variables a and b through the scanf. Next, what I was doing is return a plus b. What I wanted to do, addition I wanted to do, right? So what I was doing, in simple return statement, I was giving the value a plus b. So whenever the cursor or the program executes this particular statement, this indicates that this is going to return some value, right? Which type of value? It is an integer type of value because we had declared here int. Okay. So now if I give 2 and 3, right, return 2 plus 3, it is 5. So what is it returning? It is returning 5. That is the reason you had kept here data type int, which indicates that this function is going to return some value. Its data type is int, right? So when this function is returning some value, there should be something to catch. See, if I throw some ball, there should other person has to be there to catch that one, right? Yeah. So in the similar fashion, if this is going to return some value to the other function, right, it should have some variable to catch that value. That is the reason we took here C. And then in the next line, simply you're just printing the sum is percentile, that is C value you are trying to print. So what is happening here? From this void main, you are coming to addition, you are doing some operation and it is going to return some value for this. And finally you are printing, right? So what you are trying to do, you are moving from one method to the other method. So function and method both are same. About this, you will have a detailed explanation in the later videos. For time being, you just remember in this format, those are different functions. Okay, right. So in this format, you can use the return method. Return statement. Okay. Even in a few of the examples previously, when I had showed like int main and simply return 0. So here, what did I do? I had given expression. In the previously, I had given just simply a value. Any of the things, it's fine. Okay. So that is what the return. And next comes your go to. It is used after the normal sequence of program execution by transferring control to some other part of the program. So coming to your return, you are completely moving from one block to another block. That is one function to another function in this different statements, either in forward or in backward. So whenever you will use the go to statement, you will use the labeling for that. So according to that label, you will be moving either to forward or backward. So if you'll just closely observe, go to label. So this was the label name which I had given. And in that label, I had given some statements. So whenever this particular statement will execute, your cursor from there, it will move directly to this particular label. And this is your forward. Okay. And coming to here, this is your backward jump. So these are two types of jumps which you will be seen in your go to. Okay. So again, coming back here with a simple program. So hash include stdio.h, starting with your main, printf hello, printf how are you I had given. So first statement is hello and second statement is how are you. Okay. Then what did I do? Go to L1 I had given. So my label here is L1. So, and for that L1, what did I do? Simply given one statement, printf u. Right. So whenever you'll try to execute this code, first hello will be printed, how are you, and then your U will be printed. So finally, you'll get this output. So you need to remember that always your go-to statements will have the label. So according to this example, it is forward or backward jump. Yeah, it is forward jump, not the backward one. Okay, so this was one of the example with your go-to. So in this lecture, we had seen unconditional branching statements, right? In the next upcoming video, we will look after the conditional branching statements, and then we will look after your looping and iterative statements. Okay. Thank you all.